You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook pages. I'm Al Graham, and as you can see, joining me is a joint host, Tamara Cartwright. I got it pointed the right way this week.
I got to figure it out somehow, right? Well, you always last week I was on the other side, so I was pointing the right way. Now I'm pointing this way and I'm pointing the wrong way.
because you just never know what side we're going to be when we come on.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
We can take a different format every time. In fact, we can bring in like 10 formats.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how's your week been?
Oh, my week's been all right, I guess. Getting lots done, and I got lots more to do. I'm doing some repairs around the house, doing some work on, getting some things done. Learning how to do a little bit of parging. I got a parge on the side of the house, so I'm learning how to do that.
Yeah. I know I was at the bakery last night, and it's quite amazing how they've just handy people that can just do all this stuff without having to hire any professionals or anything. Like they were throwing the microwave up on the wall, like the two of them last night. And, like Todd's got it up, Barb's slinging it up, and they're like mounting this great big huge like industrial microwave. And I'm like, boy, you guys are sure handy. Put the dish, all that stuff in. They've done all that themselves, and yeah, Todd's super handy. So bakery's open. It's taken 2 weeks.
Bakery's open. Talking about the bakery, how's the pierogies going? I saw a picture of a big container of potatoes.
Well, I started peeling on Monday, but we can peel and then leave them in a bucket in the fridge. And then we moved the rest of the bakery over from the other location to her other new location last night. And I think we'll start making pierogies probably Friday. I think.
Yeah, yes.
So it's just a matter of lining everything up and excuse me. But again, we're just kind of waiting on her. She's got to get some production done, because she's got her own frozen food line.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes.
So she's got her freezers and stuff all full, but she's only open till 3. So after 3 o'clock. But I went over there today and seen, if there was anything needed to be done or.
Exactly.
So yeah, like I said, we're just kind of. And if not, like I said, we've got other options for the kitchens. We've been offered 2 other kitchens in town if it gets to be too much for her. And if we run out of and if we run out of pierogies, because people might get sick of pierogies. Like, you can only sell pierogies for so long where you can dip into that fundraising event for so long, right? So then I was introduced to Ukrainian crepes on Sunday.
Crepes are next, aren't they?
But she makes her own cottage cheese, and it's not like white Canadian cottage cheese. It's not like cheese curds. It is absolutely completely different. It's sweet, and they put raisins and the sweet cottage cheese, they call it, inside the crepe with a sweet white sauce. You know what my guts are doing after I was done eating it, right? Like, it was brutal, but it was so good I couldn't quit eating them. And then she sent me home with some, so I just kept eating.
Yeah, it's always it tastes good on the tongue, but it hurts on the rest of the ride.
The sour cabbage didn't hurt me. Like, these are Barb's cabbage rolls, and I'm eating tonight. They're different than theirs. Theirs are sour cabbage rolls, and they use pork, like ground pork in theirs with very little rice. It's more meat than rice, and it's ground pork. And then they use a sour cabbage, and they're smaller, and they're like little pockets. And the cabbage is so creamy, it just melts in your mouth. Like, with other cabbage, you kind of have to chew it, and it's all stringy, and you try and rip it apart, and it's falling apart.
And the pork doesn't bother you?
No, they have another thing called gel meat. Now, this is something that looks it's exactly what it sounds like. It's meat inside a gelatin with vegetables, parsley, and spices. And they eat it with the red horseradish.
Jello and horseradish.
It's a gel meat. It's chicken and vegetables.
So it would be like Jello. What's that? You get Jello with fruit in it.
Yeah,
clear Jello with fruit in it.
Yeah, only
You
it's
get it
clear
with
and it's
meat
salty.
instead.
Yeah, but it's salty.
Salty.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
And then kebabs and another salad that was like
Yeah.
cucumbers and crab and egg and peas and all kinds of different like chopped up really really diced really small and
Mm-hmm.
spicy pickles and a beet salad. It was and of course pashta bread, which is a great big loaf, and then they
Yeah.
decorate. Yeah,
You're gonna make me hungry here.
you know what? I'm making myself hungry again.
Well, instead of talking about what you're selling or maybe selling, how's things been going? Like as far as result wise, families coming over, like because you're doing this fundraising to help people.
We have a family of 3 that arrived. They're doing fairly well. They're settling. The little 8-year-old's already started school, and the 4-year-old starts first day of kindergarten 1 day a week next week.
Nice.
And the second family of 6, who none of them speak English except for the younger sister. She speaks a little bit. They arrived on the 17th. They ended quarantine on Saturday. They came out to the vigil Sunday, so it was the first night that we were able to meet them. Mom and dad are seniors. They're in their 60s, like late 60s, like mom's 64, dad's 68. So they're seniors, right?
Yeah.
And then the 17-year-old son, he starts college on Monday for English as a first language. So, like to try and teach him how to speak English. And then the other sister already wants to go and find a job. And I was trying to line up a job for mom and dad because of their age. The stuff that one of the garden centers was offering here would be more for the 17-year-old, like a yard guy, right?
Yeah.
Then I mentioned to her, like, there's not a lot of men coming over. It's not like we have men lined
No,
up.
exactly. Because they have to stay between 18 and 60. They have to stay there.
Yeah, unless
And
they've got 3 children. If they've got 3 or more children, the fathers can leave, but they have to have 3 or more children.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Well, hey, it sounds like you're being successful by selling pierogies.
Well,
And
and not that we've had some really, because with our charity, we've had some really local businesses put in some fairly substantial donations. We
nice.
also collected $260 from a grade 3 class at
Oh,
Gordon Terrace School yesterday for sunflower seeds, right? So it's just every little bit really helps. And on Sunday when we were at the market, we made $900 just standing there taking donations. And from the market, the vendors, the guy that put the market on, gave us the proceeds to what the vendors' cost was. So we made $900 on Saturday too. So
wow. Holy
every little
smokes.
bit helps,
You guys
right?
do get lots of support.
We're I think we're almost to the $27,000 mark, somewhere in there from the very start, from when we started with the programs and we were getting to
Wow.
distributing. I
Oh.
think we've raised almost 27,000, I think. And that's in 63
Double
days,
thumbs.
right?
2 thumbs.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up. Way to go.
But again, like we have to be mindful about the housing and the
Yeah.
ability to find jobs for them and the ability
Yeah.
to sustain them. And let's
Mhm.
face it, there's no doctors here, there's no housing here. It's
Yeah.
really tough. There's no daycare spaces here. It doesn't matter where you go across our country from coast to coast to coast. It's the same issue. No doctors, no housing, no daycare. So I keep wanting to know, where is all the damn cannabis money going if it's not going into these programs that we want
No.
to go
Be
into?
nice if it did. Be nice if it did.
They say it does. They're saying that 75% of those funds go back to the province for social programs. So then you have to wonder what the goddamn
Where they
problem.
use law enforcement. Law enforcement.
No,
And
it's not. It's supposed to go to law enforcement. It's
yeah.
supposed to go to law. It's not supposed to go to law enforcement. It's supposed to go to education. It's supposed to go to social programs, and like that's where I'm wondering about the dental. This, all this pharmaceutical
Right.
stuff. Where's this money coming from? The extra money, because the feds keep 25% for themselves.
They
So if they're
do.
25% off $5.8 billion, how do you think we're
A
getting?
few bucks there. That's right. Yeah.
So when people
Exactly.
ask me, where's the money coming from? It's coming from cannabis. And
Yeah.
nobody wants to say that out loud, because God help them that they actually admit that legalizing cannabis wasn't a bad thing. And nobody that doesn't like the legal industry doesn't want to admit that maybe it's working just a little bit after how many arrests that haven't happened.
It needs work. It needs work. There's a lot of things I'm glad for,
Well, here's
and
the
there's
thing,
things
it's
that
perfect
need to
for
be
the
adjusted.
recreational user, right? It's perfect for somebody that doesn't use it for medical.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I have an example of that just myself. Just the other day when I helped a fella out who was looking for some gummies to help with the sleep issue, and he's in his 70s. But I'll tell that story another time. But I think we should get our guest in here. Yes.
Absolutely.
I see the yes there. Go. You shaking your head as you inhale.
Yeah. Long time cannabis, everything, drug harm reduction, law enforcement against prohibition. Where do you start with Alison? Where do you start?
Cannabis rallies, speaking publicly, newspapers, TVs, patients access, on
Marijuana,
and on and going. So, time to
marijuana
bring her
mission.
in. We'd like to welcome Alison Myrden to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Alison.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Great, thanks. How are you guys?
Good. Good.
It's good to see you. I wish
Thank
it was
you
in
so
person.
much, by the way. Those are really sweet words, you guys. Thank you.
Well, you're an icon and you are a legend, whether you want to admit it or not. But like I said, the first person when I first started getting going on this, right back in 2007, who was one of the first people I reached out to. She's sitting right in front of you, and that's who kind of guided and mentored me too, along with West Coasters, and then there was Keith and Debbie Fagan in Calgary. But Alison was one of the very first people that I connected with. Yeah.
And it's always good to connect with people, bring people back like into the picture who've been here, 2 decades.
I know.
Fighting for patients' access. Some people don't even, this thing. Well, medical cannabis has been there for quite a while. While there was years there. Year
Alison
2000.
was a pioneer. It was a Hitsgate case that Alison was involved in, her and Debbie Stoltz-Giffen, that really made the pivot towards getting medical exemptions for patients. And Robin and Al Barassa, rest in peace, they're both gone now. They're no longer here. But Al and Robin were busted, years ago in the Hitsgate before. And Hillary Black, yes, hi, Deb. Deb's here. She's here. Same here, Hillary Black.
There we go. There you go. Message from Deb.
Yeah. Hi, Deb.
Right? So again, like, these are pioneer women that have stood up, and fought for cannabis legalization. I'm not saying there's no men, but we've got pioneering women within this movement that have really made the change.
Yeah, well, there you go. As Deb mentions there, she brings up Hillary Black as well.
Hillary Black, Riel Kapler, like Lisa Kirkman. We can go back to all these women that have stood up and fought for cannabis prohibition to end. And now they're still fighting for psilocybin and other drug, all drugs should be legalized. Every last one of them. The only way we're going to get out of this drug war is to actually regulate and make sure that there's access for everybody. And whether you like that or not, it's not a choice about you. It's not about you when it comes down to harm reduction. It's about taking it back for the people that suffer with it. Right? Like, quit everybody putting their judgy, comments and stuff. No, it's about me. It's about it's about your uncomfort with it. And if it's not causing anybody else harm, then why should it bother you? I mean, if they want to harm themselves, which we know that these drugs aren't good. Opioid crisis is one of the worst ones.
Well, look what it's caused.
It's out of control. But again, you have to go back to the fact that everyone wants to blame the doctors. The College of Physicians are cutting back people's opioid. They were to the point they won't even give them out anymore. People are suffering in pain. Then you got chronic pain sufferers that are still looking for relief. So where are they going? They're going to the street too, so they can get rid of their pain, because that pain causes trauma. So what's the purpose?
Yeah, well, Alison, I know when you were with the Pace Radio Show there in those early years, you were always saying, about legalizing, the other drugs, other than just cannabis.
I've never changed my path, Al, for almost 30 years, if not more. All I wanted to do when I was a corrections officer, I could see the problems with drugs with young offenders when I was working with them. The kids were always kind of the ones that all the adults use as sort of scapegoats to kind of run their drugs and get their charges and do everything bad, because young offenders, their records were erased at the age of 18. So adults knew way back then that they were good drug runners. And what the kids didn't know was that what they were doing was not right, even though they thought at some point that it was going to be very lucrative, it was going to be exactly what they wanted. It ended up being exactly the opposite and getting them a lot of them in trouble. So what I'd done from the beginning, Al and Tamara, when I was a corrections officer way back when in the 1990s, early 1990s, I was screaming in court 5 days a week. Every time there was a young offender sentenced for trafficking or whatever it was involving an illegal substance, I would literally stand up and say, "But Your Honor, drugs are a health issue and do not belong in a court of law." And the judge every time would slam their gavel down and say, "Be quiet, I'm going to charge you with contempt of court." And then I look around the courtroom and all the officers and everybody chuckling and winking at me and thumbing up, And I'm like, I never, ever stopped for the last, 34 years I've been doing this, Alison. Since I've been with Gary before I knew Gary. And I've been with Gary 34 years. So I've been fighting a long time. It does not make sense to me at all.
I agree.
No, you can't arrest your way out of that problem. You can't be putting people in jail for it. And yeah, it doesn't.
And the worst part about it with the jail systems now too, like they take away everything, including their tobacco. So tobacco is like huge physical addiction too, right? And the federal system has now made it so when you enter into their system, you're cut out of caffeine, you're cut out of tobacco. Never mind the drug of choice that you're addicted to. And here's the thing with the opioid: 72 hours your body's addicted to it. So when is that become a choice? After you've been using after 72 hours, whether you want to stop or not, your body makes you sick. So when they say that drug addiction is not a choice, it really isn't a choice. Yes, having to take it. Why the doctors are cutting people off in the hospital, if they do give them anything, within 48 hours before they leave the hospital, because they don't want to kick them out physically addicted to the opioid because it takes so little time with it.
I just wanted to say quickly, sorry, Al, at the beginning of the year, I was on probably 1,000 more milligrams of morphine a day than I am now. And I take a lot of morphine every day. And I literally, because of what Tamara just said, because of the opioid crisis, the doctors in Health Canada panicked and cut every single patient in Canada who was on opioids the way I am immediately, if not in half, then by more than half. And literally, I went through heck for like 8 months. I was so sick. And I kept saying, I know this is for the best. I know this is for the best to get off the Dilaudid and the morphine. But at the same time, I have nothing more for the pain in my face. And until I can get access to psilocybin, which again was something I mentioned online today. It's been 212 days today.
I saw that post. Yes.
Yeah, since my lawyer submitted my paperwork for a Section 56, and all I'm asking for is the right to consume and grow my own. Nothing more, just like cannabis. And I don't understand what the problem is.
No, I don't either. And I don't either. And that's the thing. Like, I've got another friend too, where the doctors are wanting to cut him right off his opiates. He's had chronic pain. He's in his 60s. And he's like, what do you want me to do? And they don't, and the doctor's like, well, the College of Physicians are giving us the gears. And it's like,
exactly.
Here's the thing though. That's because we've had lobbyists and they're blaming the doctors for the opioid crisis to begin with. And you've got these lobbyists in there, feeding these lies. And I'm not saying they're all lies because we know that opioids are bad, but you're just pushing people to the street. You're making it work.
They're misunderstanding the fact that patients still need help. And that's the biggest thing. We saw this coming from the US years ago, and they all warned us because they were all getting their prescriptions cut then. So I knew it was coming from all the, chat rooms and forums I was in over the last number of years. But I also was not expecting the huge cut that I did get in my medication. So, and that again, I don't blame my doctors because my doctors are better than most doctors. But at the same time, how can Health Canada and the government, the Canadian government, do this to patients, like you said, who are suffering and or dying?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
it's the government. It's the College of Physicians that are putting the pressure on the doctors to threaten them with licensing. So is that coming from Health Canada? Where is that coming? Or is that coming from the head of the College of Physicians? So there's a separation there between government and the College of Physicians. So is it really the government or is the College of Physicians taking it upon themselves?
You bet. You bet. Good question. Wouldn't we all like to know? I will tell you, Al, again, that I'm fighting for psilocybin as medicine.
Correct.
But
Yeah,
I lost my legal right to grow cannabis. I lost over the last couple of years. So I'm no longer one of the first licensed patients for cannabis in Canada. Well, I am, I guess, still. But I'm licensed. So again, I'm back, and I was reading the paperwork today, 1 to 3 grams. And my lawyers, again, Paul and Jack, everybody else, Paul Lewin, Jack Lloyd, everybody else, fought like heck for a group in Manitoba. And this particular group in Manitoba, whose name I'm sorry escapes me, they won a battle just recently in court stating that patients could not, it wasn't even, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. But anyway, they cannot be limited to 1 to 3 grams a day with cannabis.
Right.
The way we used to be, or Tamara. And now I think what they're trying to do, the lawyers, is break through again and say, now in Manitoba, let's start from scratch and say, okay, 50 grams or however many grams a day is not excessive. I mean, I don't understand what it takes. I've got, look.
Yeah, and
I've got all.
When it comes to the medical cannabis program,
right?
Yeah.
What is the damn difference? Why can't I smoke and eat and drink my medicine and then not have any pain?
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. No. And that two-fisted handful of containers of pills are fine. Like, it just doesn't.
And you know what? I used to be on 32 different bottles of pills in one day, plus 2,000 milligrams of morphine, plus heroin and cocaine. I couldn't even talk then, Al. And I seriously think that was the government's, that was what they were after, was to kind of suppress people like me who were trying to speak out at the time. And I will never, and I repeat, never go back to the medications that they had given me when I was young because of that. And finding cannabis and psilocybin, LSD. I've even used LSD, for this silly thing in my face right now. And immediate relief.
Really? Even the LSD?
Instant. And I have no side effects other than no pain in my face. So, yeah. And otherwise, I'm like this 24 hours a day, every day, and have been for over 30 years.
Yeah. We got a comment from Deb. She says that not only fine, but they pay for them also.
Yeah, well, that's the pharmacare, right? Everybody's been screaming about pharmacare.
Yeah, you're not paying for the cannabis. Well, there are some insurance companies do pay for some cannabis, but it is very limited amounts. It's not something,
It's $300 a year or something. I think they might cover. Or if you buy more than $300 a year, but it all has to come from a legal store or a legal LP. It has to be bought through the medical system. It can't.
Growing our own doesn't count?
Nope.
I actually was one of the first patients in Canada to claim everything I grew for cannabis on my taxes, my mom and me, and we got over $8,000 back that year. And that was one of the first years we did it. And that was in the early 1990s. They do not allow any of those
anymore.
Now they've changed it completely, in other words.
Well, even if here's the thing, if you take a lot of pharmaceutical medications too, and you've got benefits, and your benefits cover, okay, so then there's still a little bit of the portion left over. If you claim, you have to be able to have, there's $300 you have to have over and excessive. But if you put in a couple of receipts, they're auditing you immediately.
You're right.
How dare you claim your medicine, no matter what it is, whether it's pharmaceutical, whether it's cannabis, how dare you claim your medicine?
Honestly, Annie, again, I did all of that. And that's why the government does not like me very much. I just lost the list of my medicine or my drink. But the government doesn't like me because I claimed everything. And what I used to do also, send receipts from the street. When I bought from the street, I didn't know who I was buying from. And so I'd say from vendor. And I'd send in all these receipts from vendor. And I'd put the amount that I paid for cannabis. And I'd say, okay, now you have it. Now you have my proof.
Yeah.
I got money back. They don't do that anymore either.
No.
I'll tell you.
Well, I know at some of the centers back in the day, they were submitting in taxes that was collected, as well as employees. From some of the employees, like the ones that I was close to.
You bet. See, like I said, if we can do it, we did it. But getting back to Al, you had said you weren't quite happy with the laws in cannabis in Canada. I'm not at all. But I don't have the energy to fight for cannabis anymore the way I did. So we need other people to stand up and say, this is not acceptable here in this country. I don't know how they can call this legalization when there are still all of the problems that there are.
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm glad that they've legalized it, but there's more to be done. We can't just walk away and accept
You're right.
There's much more to be done.
You're right.
There is a lot being done, to be honest.
Yeah, there's stuff being done, but
we've got a group of people that are still fighting for the microcrafting to be less. They actually don't even need a record anymore. Like I could actually go work before they wanted all these security checks and stuff. I was told by a licensed producer here that I could go work on their licensed production site now. And actually, I had a criminal record check just done because of my volunteer work. Excellent. I passed a vulnerable criminal record check, and my shit's like 2013. It's so old that nobody cares.
You know what, though, Eddie? That's why you're an OG. Hey, darling, I'll tell you. We'll learn them. You know what? We have to keep teaching people as we go. We have friends of every age, Al, and we've never kids, Gary and me, but we are in touch with everybody we have people in their 20s to their 60s and 70s over on a regular basis. Right. My point being is you're never going to stop learning from those who do teach, and you're never going to educate enough for those who want to learn. So we have young people coming over and teaching us, for example, about psilocybin and the latest ways to grow and how to get a, perpetual garden, all these different things. So, and that's important to me because again, I think you guys are aware that when I applied to have psilocybin as medicine in Canada, September 28th, when I submitted my paperwork, I also asked for the right to grow as the first person in the world to grow my own psilocybin. So I know that's part of what is holding up my particular section.
Now that would probably be based on the experience of the Terry Parker situation, where they gave him the right to access, but how?
Exactly what I said. When I've been using psilocybin over 30 years through my doctors, through my neurologists. So I knew already that I needed a source. So the only difference was I had to get people to help me legalize cannabis first before I came out about using all these other horrible drugs. But the thing is, again, that all of them we've been looking into for decades. We're experts in these fields, all of us, because we know now what these substances do and don't do.
Yeah.
So again, psilocybin, I'm not stopping, Al. I'm not stopping tomorrow at psilocybin. There's more out there. I'm going to go after MDMA, PTSD people with these issues. We need choice in this world. We need choice in this country. So we'll start with the country and then we'll work our way around the world.
That's right. Yeah. One brick at a time,
You bet.
All you got to do is look at the way the cannabis issue went, medical into recreational, one country, two countries.
Exactly.
And it's just steamrolling.
It's just steamrolling now. And even in the States, state to state, they're coming every day with another new door opening in the States or, legislation. But again, there's also the odd state down there that still wants life in jail for a couple of
there's still, yeah.
So, you know what I mean? You still have these stigma and you still have these prohibitionists that still think that a plant is, and
ridiculous.
I mean, psilocybin's a fungus. It grows all over the ground. It grows everywhere. You just have to strain, right? And that's the thing. Of course, you can't pick it off your front garden and get that. There's special mushrooms, of course, but it's like peyote too, and all these natural, things that you can grow in your garden that actually are beneficial for medical.
Psilocybin wasn't even illegal in Canada until 1974, I should say. I think it first became recognized in this Food and Drugs Act or something. But I'll tell you, in 1984, they put a kibosh on it because they started realizing how people like us were enjoying it and some of us getting relief for different things. Again, 30 years ago, what would that have been? 82, so 92. So it wasn't that far off is my point. 84, they made it illegal.
Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been
like 1991 or 92. would be the first time I tried them. And I didn't mind them when I a gram or two here. And I never tried acid because I saw somebody, one of my friends, kind of freak out on acid. It was like, oh, if that's how you're gonna act on acid, I don't want to act like that, because she just like it had a bad trip.
I was told not to because I was too hyper, so I was probably like you, like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, like I didn't smoke cannabis until I was like 17 too, and because my boyfriend at the time, who ended up being my ex-husband, was smoking. It was one of those, well, if you can't beat him, you might as well join him moment. So I got and it started with hash and tobacco, right? Because there was no cannabis back then in Alberta.
Hash was my first toke.
Because you couldn't get it. And when I moved to Calgary in 1988, 87, 88, if you went to get an eighth of cannabis in Calgary, it literally was picked off the branch, thrown in a bag, $40.
Not even dried. Oh, geez.
It was literally like chop in a bag.
Ladies, it's the bottom of the hour.
Chop it up and put it on the Pyrex dishes and put it on top of it. Let it sit there for 2 days. You might cost $40.
Put the light on over it. Get some heat underneath it.
If you put it in the microwave, it would ruin it. So you put it on the lamp so it would kind of, then eventually.
Funny how it smells. Before we go to break, we were talking about claiming on income tax and stuff like that. Debbie says she also did it, but she also claimed the clones too.
Yes, I claimed everything too. Good for you, Debbie. Woo! That's my girl.
Yeah. And now you
whatever
can't
stream
claim meals, or not meals. It was now you can't claim work clothing. Alvin had like $1,000 worth of work clothing for work. Oh, sorry, you can't claim that. Oh, but you can claim meals. Last year we were told we couldn't claim meals, so we didn't keep his meal receipts. He kept his clothing receipts. So this year you can claim meals, but not your clothing. And we got
Who knows?
I get so confused, but good, Debbie.
All right, let's go for break. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep right on talking. I gotta put the brakes on here. Right? Okay. Off we go to break. Tamara and I will continue our conversation with our guest, Alison Myrden. When we get back, this is the Pace Radio Show. We are live here on the Pace Radio Network's YouTube and Facebook pages.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
Let's share Pace everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Hey, welcome back. You're watching, or maybe you're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live right now on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Plus, if you missed tonight's show, you can always catch the audio and the video podcast afterwards at our website, paceradio.net. Today on the program, Tamara and I are joined by our guest, as well as most especially our friend, cannabis and mushroom advocate, Alison Myrden. Hello, Alison. We are back. All right. So now,
2011, I guess, when I first met Alison in Ottawa. 2011. So that would have been 11 years ago. Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be 11 years ago.
And
I would have probably
beautiful now.
Yeah. I would have probably met Alison at one of those rallies, one of those 420 rallies down at
way back.
I myself, 420 just went by, so
Yeah.
I call the Niagara Falls 420 the original.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
Like for us,
That was way back.
Yeah.
Were you there when we shut down Highway 420 before they changed the name to the Veterans Highway?
No, I don't think so. I started going down there about 07, somewhere 06, 07, somewhere in there. I got my Crohn's in 2003, and then I had to heal enough to be able to travel,
right? Of course, right.
So somewhere around there, 2007, somewhere in there. Like I was down there the one, a few years prior to this, but I remember when the Magic Bus used to bring down like 4 loads of people down.
I know, those were great days, boy.
They were.
We didn't have any of that stuff. Like when I was like, we didn't have any of that stuff. I grew up in Alberta. Like we didn't have any of that until I did the first global marijuana march in 2008 in Lethbridge. There had never been one before.
Do you want to know something really funny, Tamara? We were like that with the Global Marijuana March in Toronto, and I was young and I was really, really feisty at the time. And so I decided with the big fluffy guy, Gary, to go out, and we walked around the neighborhood in Toronto, the major block that now people walk for the Global Marijuana March. There were 5 of us. Neve, who was a Compassion Club owner, a dispensary owner. Dom, who is a dispensary owner. Stephen Bacon, who's a patient and a friend of ours. And Gary and myself. The 5 of us walked those whole city blocks. There were only 5 of us the very first year. Wow. The following year, we brought the Global Marijuana March to Toronto for the first time, and there were over 50,000 people.
Right? I can remember in those times when we'd be down there. I'd be going down there with Di and Steve Bacon, who you mentioned.
You betcha.
And he'd be yelling, "Free the weed!"
Always.
And you just hear it echoing off the buildings.
Always. Steve and I did a lot together in those years.
Yeah. That's great though, but that's the best part about it is that you can go back to all those years that we had to fight like that. And I mean, this year, 420 was more of a celebration for a lot of people because, like I said, even though legalization is not perfect in any way, stretch, or form, because there are still laws. If you get caught with illegal or illicit cannabis or over the 30-gram limit, or if you get caught selling to a minor, there's still a 14-year jail term.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
so I know it's not perfect. I also know that there's been 60,000 people that haven't been arrested for small possession, which is a bit of a milestone, right? So with every little baby inch, I know there's 8 steps back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like I said, I hate to say this because I was the biggest one that's saying,
I agree.
Fuck everybody and fuck them all. But we're going into year 4 and 5 with this. It's just, and they have so there's a few things, but again, until the laws have changed completely for all drugs, and cannabis is still on the CDSA. So until cannabis is actually removed off the CDSA, it's still not a legal product. They can't even research it because it's still on the fucking CDSA, right?
You're right. And those are the things, again, that we need to keep fighting tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're not done in that respect because, again, legalization, yes, is fine for the country. 18 and older, they have very few problems like they did before, which is fabulous. But at the same time, as was mentioned, medical patients are still caught in that wheel.
Yeah.
That's the problem that we have because people like Debbie and myself, when Debbie and I fought in Hitzig, the lawsuit against the government with Alan Young supporting us and some of these other lawyers that were out there, we ended up telling the world then that these were not acceptable issues for us to be dealing with as people who are battling their health. Nothing has changed in 30 years or 25, whatever it is, 20.
It's just about 30 years. I mean, we're going back to 98. Right? It was 1998.
I feel like it's been 100.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the first 56 exemption was in 1998, was it not?
I had my first Section 56 exemption in 1994.
94. Let's see, there you go. So
and then I got my first, I think it was, I'm getting confused, but I think I was legally allowed to do something in 1998. And then when we won Hitzig, it ended up changing the entire program for medicine here in Canada.
Right, and that kicked in 2000, right, with the MMA. That's exactly right. But I mean, it took a lot to get there, and then they go and turn around and try throwing us under the bus with the MMPR. And then we had to go back to court again and fight for our rights to go because none of them wanted us ever to be able to sustain ourselves. They didn't, we're feeding the illegal market and all this shit. No, we were just trying to take care of our fucking own selves. And yes, there's always a bad apple. Of course,
there's always, whether it's snowmobile, skiing, whatever. There's always a segment.
There's always a bad apple. But you know what? There are legitimately. When I first got my license, I think there was only 10,000 licensed medical patients in Canada. Now I think we're like to 55,000, somewhere in there, because we did how many patients did Dr. Cameron sign? 5,000.
Oh yeah,
I sent him everybody. I sent him Alice Cooper's entire family. Vinnie Fournier, the lead singer for Alice Cooper.
Yeah,
and his whole family.
Right, exactly. And then there was Jan. In Saskatoon, it's his death, right? Today,
I agree.
He's been gone 8 years, and I said
unbelievable. Wow.
There was doctors in those early days who were, I'm going to call it, victims of the system.
They sure were, Al.
Because now, there's cannabis clinics
everywhere
around that people can go and get signed, all that stuff.
But here's the catch on that too, Al. It's free as long as an LP signs them. And
sometimes some of them go here or have to pay for the doctors.
Don't try and get a doctor to sign you to grow, because whoever it is, at the end of the day, they still want money. Because even with CTCP, the doctor that works still is asking for cash. So if you want to do it, you can put an app on your phone from Namaste. Canada Cannabis 420 on your phone. Do a nurse practitioner will phone you up. Cost you absolutely nothing. Pick a LP provider. Here you go. Here's your prescription. Nothing.
It shouldn't cost you a penny. I've never paid a penny and never would.
But if you want that LP license, if you want to be able to grow, that LP wants $850 for that signature too. They don't want you growing it. For some reason, and they think that if
you take away the customer base, that's why Harper took away our right to grow.
It's going to deter people. I mean, you think about it now, like say whatever is 10 grams per day, I think is about $250 from a doctor now, which is not $2,500. How many people that paid back in the day $5,000+ for a growing license? How many lawyers? How many people screwed people over? I'll help you with your paperwork. It's only going to cost you $50,000. Like, how many of us that for free? Like,
yeah, I know. I always told people, talk to your doctor. If you haven't talked to your doctor, talk to your doctor, because the doctor's either going to do it free or charge you very little to do it. Like my first time I got charged the first time I got my paperwork signed.
Right.
No different than if I went in and asked for
I think
physical or
doctors
whatever,
were a
and they
little bit
signed it, right?
scared.
They charged me $50. $50.
Perfect.
That was it, right? That was 15 years ago.
Perfect.
You know, and he never charged me since. So yeah, exactly.
That's how I ended up in
That's why I always tell people, talk to your doctor, because when you end up going to some of these clinics, you could, you know, in those days, pay a big fine.
But back when I got my license, and I was in Alberta, my license cost me over $5,000 because I had to
you came to Ontario.
I went and talked to my doctor, and my doctor laughed in my face. He says, "Oh, you know."
Wow.
So he got me the colonoscopy.
But at least you went to your doctor. At least you went to your doctor and asked.
Well, yeah, I had no choice. I needed a diagnosis, so I had to get the testing done for my place. I had to have something on paper to take to Dr. Cameron's, because Dr. Cameron's, none of these doctors were diagnosing doctors.
Yeah.
It's not like you could go and stay for a week and get all these testing done. So you go, yeah, this is what you've got. Yeah, I'm going to prescribe you cannabis for it, and this is how it works. When you walked into Dr. Cameron's office, you had to have a diagnosis paper with you. So you had to have your doctor, you know, facilitate the fact that you had to have a diagnosis. So I had to go through all this. That idiot.
You had to prove.
Yeah,
you had to prove to him you had a medical condition. It's not just because that eliminates that part for him where he would have had to do all that stuff.
Right.
Dr. Cameron's was one of the first doctors in the country in this end of Canada to actually contact me and ask me if I could send him patients. And I did that when he first came to Canada from the US. So I feel guilty for part of what happened to him, but I still to this day know that he realizes that I don't think any of us was to blame. It was the government, the way they came down on him. But at the same time, you know, the thing is, there are good doctors out there, but Dr. Cameron's is a very good example.
You know what happened to Dr. Cameron's, though, to be fair, Alison? He had patients that he refused to give big licensing to, and those patients turned and stopped him in the back and referred him to the college institutions.
I know.
And basically, Dr. Cameron got screwed over by people that he refused to help because he didn't want to risk his license, because they were going in and asking for hundreds of grams per day. And he said, I'm sorry, they're going to start looking at me. I've already signed all these licensing. I can't give you any. 50 grams max is about the max I'm going to go. So when they were turned down and told no.
But that was again partly my fault, because I came out publicly at 150 grams a day. And I met a number of people who were challenging my numbers. And I was like, hey, you go for it. I have more than enough right now. I'm doing fine because I can do exactly what I need. But again, you're right. There are people who push the limits, Tamara. And this is, again, why doctors, again, are a little trepidatious about sort of giving in and leaning toward a cannabis patient, or a patient, like any patient who chooses a substance that is not in the compendium of pharmaceuticals sitting on their desk right now. Or
and they look at everybody as a drug seeker these days. Not everybody, but 90% of the people that, you know, they come in and they don't prescribe opioids at the emergency. They don't even give you opioids after a surgery. You get Tylenol and Advil. They are really, really stingent on not giving out drugs at all anymore.
You're right.
So if you're thinking that they're taking back actual drugs, then they look at cannabis as a illicit drug, you know, especially if they're an uneducated doctor. You're like, you want me to give you cannabis? I can't even give you a fucking Percocet. They want me.
I know, sweetie. Again, one of the last times I was in the hospital, I can't even remember. I had surgery a couple of years ago for something. I forget what it was now. I have it all the time. But anyway, they gave me ketamine as an, what do you call it, analgesic. And I remember thinking, oh, that was kind of cool. Well, I had no pain in my face for 5 hours after the surgery. And I was like, what? Why the heck do I have no pain in my face? And I realized now it was the ketamine. So again, you know, these things, again, are already legal in a lot of these medical issues. Medically, cocaine and heroin, I had given my doctors 30 years ago.
Hospital. Like they use fentanyl to put you out, like for surgery. Like they use fentanyl in the hospital every day.
That's exactly it, Tamara. I used to go to the hospital and lie on a gurney in a little room and get a tiny little spoonful of cocaine shoved up my nose to the nerve center at the very top. And I got that 3 times a week. I was in the hospital. I don't think I slept for about 3 weeks. And then when I did stop running, I finally collapsed.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't think this is.
No, that'd be like.
But yeah.
No, thanks.
But funny enough, no pain again. But that's choice again for me. I don't want to be constantly up running all the time because I'm already hyper enough, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I was using cocaine back in the day, it would slow me down. So now I'm realizing with the medication that I'm on now, is a stimulant because of my attention deficit. That's why it made me like, I would look at everybody like, what the hell's wrong with everybody? All poking out the windows, picking floors, and I'm like, like I was just kind of felt like normal. I never really got rid of the high either. I always felt that there was something wrong with me or the drugs. Oh, it was making
any residual effects.
Right? It was weird. Yeah. Weird. But again, I'm glad that at least what at least what I'm taking now is.
But I'm glad because I see the difference in you too, sweetheart. All I'm saying is that as we started this conversation earlier, I think patients should have choice. That's all I've ever said from day one. Yeah. Is I don't care if you choose to eat the grass in your backyard to feel better. Right? My point is just let us do that if we're not hurting anybody.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Like, I mean, I don't want to see people running around with meth pipes, to be fair. Like if that's
some things definitely need control. Right? I agree.
We have to have some regulation on some stuff. But again, like I said, some of the stuff that Mom Stop the Harms come up with, they've got some good policies and stuff too that they introduced to the BC government, but the Alberta government threw it out of court.
Exactly. See, these are the things, honey, people need to learn. And harm reduction is, again, involved in all of this, right? Mm-hmm. Because the more we consume things like cannabis, the fewer opioids we take. Or the fewer, whatever it is, we don't need as many what I call pharmaceuticals, right?
Pharmaceutical.
Yeah. It's really important. So people need choice. And again, I took pharmacology when I was younger because I was being given so much medication. I was like, what the heck is going on here? I need to know what this does and this does. And by the time I had finished, I was so overwhelmed because I had so many bottles of pills in one day that I finally said, that's it. I cannot do this anymore. Yeah. And bottom line, the last thing, thank God, that we've all done, all of us, teach people now the last thing they need to do is reach for a bottle of pills or that many, because every bottle of pills we reach for, there's another bottle for the side effects that come with that bottle.
Oh yeah. They end up sometimes you get 2 prescriptions to cover the side effects for for another prescription.
Even with my methotrexate, it comes with 2. Because you got to take your methotrexate and then you got to take folic acid every day.
Correct.
Yeah. There you go.
Right. So I've got to take folic acid every day, or I haven't had any problems with bowel sores or whatever that's supposed to go on because I take it every day.
Now, are you on the 5 milligram folic acid?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, I remember when I was on it, they ran out at one time. It was hard. Yeah, it was actually hard to get. I had to take 5 pills. I had to take 5 folic acid pills in order to get the 5
milligrams.
So I take folic acid every day, and I take 3 to 5 a day as well. So. But that's for a different reason for me.
Correct. Yeah. I was taking it for because I was on the methotrexate as well. I was doing the injections once a week in my stomach.
Yeah. See, and I don't want to take the injection. I'm just taking the tablets. It doesn't seem to bother my stomach. I don't get any side effects. I'm really lucky with any pharmaceutical that I do take. The side effects for me are very, very rare. Never. Like, I had 4 vaccines. I never had a side effect. My arm hurt for a day, and I was, you know what I mean?
Good
so I've had the vaccines done that I had no side or adverse effects from that. Good. The only thing I really had an adverse effect with is this Ritalin. And to be honest, I've taken the prescription that he started me with, and I talked to my doctor Monday, and I've actually split it in half. So he started me. He said low and slow. But it was too much for me. It was making me feel scared.
You're pretty tiny, though, sweetie. You got to be careful how much you take at
once.
Right.
So, and he's never seen
me. I'm like 100 times the size of you alone.
Right. So, and like even my doctor said, well, 10 milligrams is normal for a normal person. She goes, but if you find that snapping it in half is better, snap it in half. So I've cut myself back to 10 milligrams a day rather than the 20 that he first prescribed me, so that I'm not feeling like a sketch face. I just felt like I was like too tunnel visioned and just sketchy. But on the
when you feel a little funky, so you know that.
Yeah, it made me feel funky. So I cut myself back, and I'm feeling normal. Like just
Yeah.
You know,
Just cut back on the dose.
Exactly. But that's what we say with everything, including psilocybin for me, just to change it back to that for a second.
No problem.
Psilocybin, again, we're in a medicine that everybody could take. We'd all, again, be just like we are now with other pills, aware of how many milligrams or how much we need. That's what we need done with these substances. And that's what we keep fighting for, everybody, is that I would like to see, my medicines, or these medicines, not mine, but these medicines legalized for everybody, so that we no longer have anybody in the world fighting for whatever it may be. And again, I hate to say it, I'm not saying crack is a good medicine, because obviously it's not, but there are different things that cocaine may be medically, positive.
Cocaine was used for medical.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cocaine was a medicine at one point. So was heroin, because opioid is heroin is a opiate, right? And let's face it, and they're natural. Cocaine's from a leaf, opiates from a flower, aspirin's from a birch tree. Like even aspirin is derivative from a plant, because we always started from natural medicine. Right.
That's the way, though, Tamara. And that's why I love you and Al, because it is from the plant. It's all from the earth, everything that we're using. I actually, again, was having a bad day with my face today. And somebody was kind enough to write on my Facebook page all of these natural things to do for trigeminal neuralgia, which is the pain I have in my face. But it was interesting enough, because there were things like vitamin B, and just, a lack of vitamin B can cause people like me with more pain, or to have more pain in this particular area. That kind of thing I find it really interesting. And I'd much rather do that before being able to turn to a bottle of pills and say, okay, I'll take 2 of these and 3 of these, and I should be fine in half an hour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I think most people try natural first, and if that doesn't work, like I said, even with my arthritis, I can attest to too. Like even with the colitis, I didn't use medicine. I've never used anything for my colitis. The methotrexate is actually nothing like that. But I tried turmeric. Cedar was sending me caps of different doses with turmeric and cannabis.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
and all kinds of stuff. We were doing tropicals and all kind. I tried everything first before I tapped. And I did that because I wanted to make sure that I had tried everything first before I went and said, man, this just isn't working. And even for pain, it was just not.
You have to find out, though, honey. That's the thing.
People what I did? Yep.
Yeah, I'm not saying everybody should try everything. Turmeric is different, but with illegal substances and things that, have a different sort of effect on you, I would still be somebody who would say to your doctor, would this maybe help me medically if that's the case? Turmeric, etc. It's funny because I went the route of vitamins years ago. I ended up fighting some scientists from all over the world because they didn't want to battle MS. And I was really stubborn when I was young. And I was like, well, I don't care. I don't have MS. And instead of saying like everybody else, MS has me, I thought, how silly. I don't have MS. I am MS. MESS. So I started going around the world looking for scientists who agreed. And I said, I'm a mess. What am I going to do? I got to fix myself. Yeah. So that's how I got on the route that I am with all natural vitamins and natural medications as much as possible.
Right. And that's really good for, like I said, and if that works for people, that's terrific. And unfortunately, it's again, a choice, but again, sometimes it doesn't work. It's just like, people are like, psilocybin might work for you, but it doesn't work for over there. Yeah. Penicillin is, my dad's allergic to penicillin, where it works for me. Like,
there you know
go. But it's all about at least attempting, right? If you attempt to try with natural medicine first, or if you've been on pharmaceuticals for a long time and you're tired of it and you want to take yourself off that and go into natural medicine, there's so many choices now that you can do that. Even
You're
with,
bad.
I mean, even though cannabis is, is such a, at least now they have people have access. Like if they want to try cannabis, they've been taking opioids for a long time, and I know 10 milligrams is really crappy with the levels 30, total at the stores and stuff. But at least if there's somebody that can, that's really wanting to try, they don't have to go and try and find somebody in an alley anymore. There's a store, and like I said, there's the possibility of the fact that maybe somebody that's using, a harder drug would decide maybe they want to get some harm reduction. They got Neil Magnuson out there handing out cannabis.
Yes, bad. Don't we love Neil?
We got Chris Backer out in Halifax handing out bags of, and infused foods and stuff for people with addiction, issues in Halifax. So, like, again, either way you go, whether it's coming back forward or if you're using both or if it's a combination or whatever you need to do, if it's helping you feel good, then who's going to say, right?
Again, I 100% agree, Lenny. And I think, again, that anything people choose, it's a little nervy sometimes. Because I remember, though, Tamara, when I was on all those pills and I was looking at all those bottles thinking, I wondered before anything was said about cannabis and we knew anything about it, people were calling it marijuana. And I remember I met Hillary Black, speaking of which, and Hillary did an interviewed me for something. And she said to me one thing that has resonated with me for the last number of years is that she will not call this plant marijuana. She calls it cannabis. And so from that day forward, that's all I've ever called this is cannabis when I can remember. But ultimately, again, Hillary, when you meet people like that, Hillary is, again, one of the very, very, very first people in Canada to even speak about cannabis as medicine, because she was working in I believe it was a clothing store, and people were asking her about cannabis as medicine. I believe it might have even been a hemp clothing store. But ultimately, again, Hillary was 18 years old. You were young, Tamara. You were young, Al. I was young. As far as our years, this whole issue of cannabis coming to life was young. Everything was starting when we were doing it. So I congratulate the two of you, and you, Al, especially, for continuing on and doing amazing shows.
Well,
Because
thank
I
you.
watch as many as I can. I try to connect. And if I can't, I'll read everything and make sure I caught up on the latest and then go back and watch it.
All right, good stuff. All right.
Everybody, you watch these shows because they're worth it.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's
Thank
awesome. Because that's exactly, if it wasn't for Al, like, my shows wouldn't be on the air for a long time. I actually shut both mine down to join this one.
Wow, there you go.
And there was not enough content with Loretta for Cannabis Quebec Connection. Quebec is
That's
just kind
too
of like
bad.
a dead vastland of, like,
I tried that with Come Out of the Cannabis Closet with Loretta a number of years ago, and we couldn't get anyone to really take to it then either.
Yeah,
So,
like, Quebec is just a different realm, I guess.
an animal she is.
Right? And that's the thing. But it's trying to get involved in Montreal when you're not. And Montreal's pretty Anglo, but I guess the cannabis movement in Quebec is more francophone. And if you don't,
I think so too.
because Chantal is pretty embedded in it, right? But Chantal's also francophone, where Loretta's Anglo. And I think there's a lot of discrimination in Quebec that we don't see on the surface because it's a language thing.
Because like Quebec with the medical thing, they had issues there. They're having issues with legalization because of people, they don't want people to grow 4 plants. There's problems with having a pot leaf on a T-shirt, so on and so forth. So they still need some work.
And she's a different animal, different.
Yeah, it is. Well, ladies, it is break time.
All right.
Let's take commercial break. Time to pay the bills. When we return, Tamara and I will continue our discussion with our guest, Alison. You're watching or listening to the Pace Radio Show here on the Pace Radio Network.
Right on.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Pace Radio Network. By patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive. The only way to go.
Hi folks, Scott from stfattiesday.com here, and we're absolutely stoked to tell you about our brand new program called Pass the Peace Pipe and our partnership with Legacy 420 out of Tyndonega. We are absolutely proud to be partners with these people. They are an amazing group that have helped so many people with their amazing cannabis medicinal products. And we are working together to gather funds to build the first ever Indigenous specific opioid addiction center here in the Bay of Quinte area on Tyndonega land. So we need your help. We need you to repost this video and go to our GoFundMe campaign, because on this October 17th, St. Fatty's Day, we are going to be starting the campaign where we pass the peace pipe from one side of the country to another to unite our country, to gather awareness, but most importantly, funds to build opioid addiction centers across the nation, one build at a time.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And you're watching the Pace Radio Show, and we are live here, or you're, maybe listening, watching, whatever. Depends on where you're getting us at. But yeah, we're here on the Pace Radio Network. Today on the program, Tamara and I are joined by our friend and our guest, Alison Myrden. And
hi,
welcome back. Now, before the show earlier today, I read an announcement that was on Facebook that was posted by Ted Smith and Victoria Cannabis Fire Club. We've been talking about and bringing up, people who've been, throughout the show, names of people who've been involved in this over the years. And as you know, Alison and Tamara, Ted's been involved in this for, decades as well. And he posted an update on, he had a meeting with Health Canada about dosing limits and the fact that, this 10 milligram situation. And
there's also for an exemption for their store.
Yes, exactly. So they got to meet with Health Canada today. They were supposed to do it on Tuesday, I think, but it got pushed off to Monday. They had some time with them today. I think it was 45 minutes. And he says they told me
no answers though.
Yeah, we'll get back to you in about a month. So yeah, it's unfortunately it looks like it might drag on, but it's
so for the next month. We email Health Canada every single goddamn day and tell them to allow Ted Smith to have the fucking exemption. So that's what the cannabis community can do. If
Yeah.
Health Canada, send them emails, send them paper, send them a letter, phone them.
You bet.
Like, you know what I mean? If that's what it's going to take to help us, everybody's like, what can we do? What can we do? We got nothing to do. There we go. There's a project for everybody. Email Health Canada, write Health Canada, phone Health Canada. Demand that Ted Smith in British Columbia, Victoria, BC get their exemption. Demand that
and also
edibles
demand that their amount that they've been actually given to pay be rescinded. Because
that's a Vancouver bylaw. So I think that's a different. Was it Health Canada? I think it was Vancouver that defined the
That's actually the government. That's actually the police, I think, in that area, and it's the government again. But it's all tied into one, though, Tamara. I don't think people realize there isn't really, you know, you can't really throw a stone too far from one to the next and those kind of things, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, and ultimately, again, I 100% agree. Ted deserves our help after everything he's done to raise awareness for cannabis in Canada and to help patients like us.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually bring up Health Canada's email address, and I think that everybody should start.
Beautiful. When you got 8,500 members, you're doing something right.
Beautiful.
You know, like you don't get 8,500 members when you're doing something wrong.
No, ma'am.
And I know in the past we've talked with Corey Yellen, and she threw a big shout out to them when she was on the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her. Good for her. Well, again, Ted, I've met at a couple of things over the years, different events that we've spoken at. He's come out from BC. And I will tell you, I would do nothing more than put 100% of my support behind that man and his business.
Talking about it with Ted and coming, you know, getting together with Ted, you and I and a bunch of other patients is, you know, Tamara, the Supreme Court of Canada challenge. And today, for the announcement of today's show, I included the picture of you, 2 pictures of you at the Supreme Court of Canada.
I saw that.
One with you with you know the courts behind you, and the other one, the secret photo of you. Got to be the only person in the world that I know of, anyways, and probably to vaporize at the Supreme Court of Canada.
Yeah, but you know what, though, Al? If you felt the way I did that day, nothing would have stopped you either.
Yeah, well, exactly. It just shows.
And I looked at every Supreme Court judge when I was using my vaporizer. I looked at everyone as I was doing the same thing I do all the time, banging my face, poking my face, whatever the case may be. And I waited till I saw empathy on every single Supreme Court judge's face, and then I put out the vaporizer.
Good.
Because I knew I'm not a stupid woman. I knew damn well. And what were they going to do? Arrest me when I pulled out a vaporizer? No, I don't think so. But it was lovely to leave the wonderful scent of cannabis all through the Supreme Court that day in that particular courtroom. So
yeah, and well, you know, quite often we've brought up the feeling that we went through seeing that end.
Okay, so here's the Health Canada link for
cannabis
medical marijuana purposes. So you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to go look for contact us and send them an email out.
Beautiful.
No, I know there's a phone number too. I'm trying to find that too.
Beautiful.
I think that's the best way. Like I said, if everybody wants to get back involved, which I think we've been screaming about for a while, right? Like really, like what can we do? What is the thing? And I know that Al has been working with another group, or have you not, Al, been working with another small group to try and change things as well?
Yeah, I was working with a small group that's been put on hold right now.
You know what? Yeah. Beautiful. I love the intention. That's what I love, is think of how many people across Canada and even around the world are doing exactly that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's get a number.
Action.
Canada. There's got to be a phone number for Health Canada, so let's get it. Because we used to be able to call them, but that one number was on our license, so wasn't it?
Oh, I remember. Yes,
it was. It was on our license. I'd have to find
it. Was on our license.
Oh, hang on. General inquiries. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Mine's not readily available.
How do I complain to Health Canada? Here we go.
Oh, there you go. Is that a Google thing?
It was, but college was free. So here we go. We're just gonna do.
Put her up there, baby.
Yeah.
Right? The power of Google.
The power of Google. Quick search. See, 20 years ago, yes, the internet was around, but really, it wasn't as accessible or
So
was
true.
easy. Well.
So there you go.
Not have this kind of thing.
Remember, right up there for everybody. So yeah, like I guess we could start a phone call. I mean,
there you go. Excellent.
About doing it. We started a brainstorm tonight on this show. The new project is Home Health Canada and push them to get BC their exemption. And like I said, every one of us phoned it twice a day. How much time does that take in anybody's day? No time. 2 minutes.
Excellent. You know what? Done, sweetheart. And I hope that everybody listening does exactly that.
Well, let's just make a post about it. We'll share it and spread the word. And hopefully, everybody else just kind of picks up on it.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet,
That's
sweetheart.
right.
That's excellent.
You got to bring it up.
She is. Little firecracker. We adore you, Tamara.
Well, I've been putting my energy into pierogies. So,
I love that. I heard it at the beginning. You made me.
So, you know what I mean? I've got to, give a little energy to this, a little energy to that. Take it around. But yeah, I think that's a really great idea. Like I said, it takes no time to pick up the phone or even sit at your computer and blast off an email to Health Canada.
Very true.
And specifically say Ted Smith has been fined $6.5 million.
There you go.
Again, $6.5 million because he chose to keep the doors open so that cannabis patients would have access to their medicine.
Tell people like us.
That's right. Well, why don't we've been talking about Ted. I'm just waiting for something to finish loading here. Okay, it's loaded. All right. We've been talking about Ted and stuff, and you mentioned the $6.5 million fine. Dealing with this for the VCBC and stuff. We've got a little promo here that we've put together in order to help Ted. It wasn't in our commercial break, but I'm gonna run it right now in order for people to be able to contact.
Beautiful.
Help support him. Okay. So we'll be right back.
In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to save the VCBC at gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
There you go. So we run that in some of our commercial sets in order for to bring awareness to the situation and in order to be able to help out the VCBC into the work that they've been doing.
Good. Ted, I'm sure appreciates it.
I mean, it's they do need the help because they do help a lot of people, and I know they're doing like. I don't want to.
Always been there for all of us. Always.
Yeah. Why were you in the Supreme Court of Canada using a vaporizer? Because the VCBC and Ted were there fighting.
You're darn right.
That's right.
And Ted and Owen were fighting for edibles, and we decided we would support them, didn't we, Al? All of us.
We sure did. A lot of people did. A lot of people did. There's no doubt about that.
Right. Yeah. It was historic, literally.
Yeah.
It was historic.
Yeah.
And Kirk Tusa, I will never forget Kirk in action in that courtroom. John was amazing too. Kirk, those two. And
the arguments that were coming forward, interveners, Manny McKnight. Like, it made too much sense. What are you doing forcing a young child to smoke cannabis? Like, and then her mother, and then because his mom obviously doesn't want to smoke cannabis, so she's making oil for him. which is illegal at that time.
And edibles. I think she was feeding it to him.
Yeah, which was an illegal process.
You raw cannabis. Like all you could do is grind it up and put it in a cake, or grind it up and then that was not like the plant matter itself really isn't the medicine. I mean, combined it is, but it's the key. We know it's the crystal. We know it's the extract. We know it's the absolute pulling of all that.
It's whole plant medicine, Tamara. That's really important.
Exactly.
Whole plant.
Whole plant. That's
whole
right.
Plant medicine, right? Exactly. But again, they don't understand that. They don't understand that. Like we couldn't even make butter until the Smith ruling. We couldn't legally do any of that stuff.
You know, again, until we can make people understand exactly what they're actually even dealing with, because truthfully, I still have people come up to me and say, do I need CBD? Will CBD help this? And depending on what they're battling, I'm saying, again, if it's an issue that's known as a health issue that people battle, you know, whatever it may be, from ADHD to migraine headaches, you need whole plant medicine or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, because you will not get relief from just continuous use of CBD.
Right.
And although, again, people find they have fewer aches and pains, etc., that's wonderful, but you'll never get to the root of your actual problem without whole plant medicine. So Wakeford was one of the ones who told me that, again, when I first started fighting in the early 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
So whole plant medicine is
whole plant. Yeah. That story that at the beginning of the show where I mentioned about helping out somebody recently, when because the guy he just wanted some gummies.
Yeah.
And that was what I did. I didn't want him to get something that was really high as far as milligrams. So I found something available for him, and I made sure that it had a little bit of everything in it. It wasn't just because he had a choice. It's just 10 milligrams of CBD. And no THC. And I said, no. You're going to want some of that, little bit of that THC in there. And, I explained everything to him.
You bet.
Let him know that, you wake up in the middle of the night and, you feel like you're really high or whatever. Just remember, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
You just overconsume.
Just tell them to drink some orange juice. That really helps.
There you go. Or snip pepper.
Snip pepper.
Yeah,
exactly. Or take some CBD.
Or take some CBD. Yeah. Well, I think
CBD.
I think so many people have the misconception that CBD is more of a placebo. I hate to say this, and I think the marketing that was done with CBD was to make a lot of people a lot of money, and because and trying to get it so that you're not going to get high, because they didn't want people to be afraid of the actual plant. They didn't want anybody to be afraid of it because THC was euphoric, and you're gonna, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that this was a great big marketing fucking ploy.
Yeah,
honestly, I've said this over and over again. Like I people swear that CBD is helping them. They swear that it's that. I just
more power to you. That's all I say.
That's me too. I should just sit there and smile.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, I can remember going into a store in Campbellford. It was a health food store, and they were selling this lotion that was CBD.
Right.
And so she was showing it to me and saying that she was legally allowed to sell it and so on and so forth. And so I grabbed the container and flipped it around, like the ingredients, and it said hemp seed oil.
So it is. Just gonna say that. Can I tell you, I did a show many years ago. Dr. what was her name? I can't even think. She was from, oh my goodness. Not the US. No, I can't think of her name now. She was, where was that doctor from? Riva? No, it's okay. Anyway, this doctor, I did this show, and she was from somewhere in North America, South America. And she was talking about how the United States would only legalize CBD, and that we couldn't talk on the show about anything other than just CBD. And I said, oh, no. I said, I'm here for a reason. I said, I actually am in Canada, and we're allowed to use these things in Canada. So I explained to this doctor and all of her listeners around the world that, again, CBD was, good medicine, but that if they had any actual health issues, again, going back to what we've already said, they need whole plant medicine. There's nothing that will help them. They'll feel better for a period of time, but if they have any health issues,
hemp oil, how are you feeling better? Like that's what I don't understand. Like if they're consuming, CBD, but it's actually hemp CBD, so it's hemp oil. How are they doing that?
It's great for general good health. Hemp is awesome. It's like the hemp seed.
Sure. It's great omega-3. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great for your joints and your brain.
And as medicine, though, that's so true. As medicine, you have to think of it in a different realm, right? And that's why I took pharmacology decades ago when I was young, too, because I was trying to think of it outside of the box and think of it medically and see where I could fit it in medically. So in these situations, like I said, I think that's what, people again who come along decades later investigating these, specific things find out as well, that it's actually this particular issue. So again, whole plant medicine was something they found out when I was young. That helped people. So
it's funny because everybody used to scream about that sun's right in my eyes or my face right now.
You're gorgeous.
Good to see the sun is shining out in Cranbrook tonight.
Yeah, I'm just trying to write my eye. But I don't know about you, Al, with your Crohn's, but I can't eat hemp seeds at all.
No, I did for for a long time, and then I ended up in the hospital and with a partial blockage, and the doctor. I told the doctor I had eaten some trail mix. Well, it's not hemp seed, but it was some trail mix. And she told me it was a surgeon who was preparing to operate on me. Wow. That no seeds, man. No seeds.
Yeah, no
seeds. Even hemp seeds, no seeds.
You can eat strawberries because of the seeds.
Yes.
Tiny little things like that. They're so small.
Yeah. I even worried about bananas when I after that episode because bananas have seeds in them. Yeah. Pickle.
Right.
Pickles, yeah, you're right. Tomatoes.
I don't like tomatoes. That's okay.
But again, I tried eating hemp seed because everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I get it." And I had Rocky Mountain growers just giving me tons of them. So I was sprinkling them on everything, right?
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh,
not for everybody again, though. Anyway, you have to live and learn, right?
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, other people that don't have gut issues like Crohn's, colitis, or diverticulitis.
Exactly, I have no problem. I have no problem.
Right? They find them great. Some people find them really energizing, and for some diabetics, it helps regulate their sugar levels. Right?
There you go.
There are people that can use them without. As long as you don't have you have to watch whatever health issue you have, right?
Right. Again, it's incredible how all these substances all have so many different uses.
Oh yeah.
For the decades that we've all been involved in things like cannabis, just think of how much it's exploded. From food to drink on back. I mean, incredible.
When we got started in this, when we ever think that we'd be able to go to the store and buy a cannabis beverage? Like I said,
I've had one.
And so I can't drink pop.
Yeah, I haven't tried.
I can't drink carbonated drinks, and I don't like iced tea. So I've had some of the shooters.
Right.
Usually, what I do now is I go to our sponsor, Legacy 420.
Right.
I go down there and I buy their raspberry lemonade. It comes in 30 milligram doses.
Yeah.
And use that. And I use it medicinally as well.
Right.
Dealing with muscle pain and things like that. I'll drink some of the lemonade.
Smart. And you don't have to take a pill.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But how much lemonade do you have to consume to actually get some pain relief? Like the whole bottle or just a little?
No, I don't even drink the whole bottle.
And how big's the whole bottle?
I'm just trying to think. They have the small one.
It's not that
it was a 500 milliliter bottle.
Okay, so that's this big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
you can get big bottles of water at 500 milliliters.
Okay. That's awesome. And you just need a little bit, right?
Yeah, I just drink, I don't know, not even half of it.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, to be honest, I'm reaching for my vape pen or my joints long before I ever take the morphine. I don't take my morphine. I have to take methotrexate because I take the methotrexate so it keeps me so that everything's balanced. And I take acid to keep everything balanced, so I don't have to take the fucking morphine. And I don't take the morphine. Like, I don't take it. I'm just smoking most of the time. Why would I? If I'm not in pain, why would you take it?
You know what? I so agree.
It's kind of like, whatever. If I am in a little bit of pain, I push. Like, you know what I mean? It's, I guess, the level of talk of what your pain levels are and how you tolerate the pain that you learn. Right. So
I apologize. I'm chain smoking. Speaking of which,
no, you see me. This is our show.
If I had a cannabis beverage, I'd be sitting here drinking during the program.
No kidding.
Right?
Hey,
it's upstairs. So it's and the thing about, the thing that I know with Legacy, they do make their products with full spectrum.
Beautiful. That's the way.
You see, like making it with distillate and isolate and this and that, and it's like, and I kind of asked somebody, like, that's like taking a carrot and telling me that the inside's got more benefit than the outside.
You know what? Again, people do everything, Eddie. People do everything.
Okay, I just sit back and go, we used to have honey oil. Back in the 90s, we used to get honey oil. It looked like honey. It's like this color.
Honey oil, cherry oil.
In a baby bottle, like, a glass baby bottle back in the days when they had glass baby bottles.
Yeah.
We used to get those 8-ounce glass baby bottles.
Baby jars. Baby food
this
jars.
color, oil.
Yeah.
So we went from having, like, no weed, like the bag thing, to having 8-ounce jars of fucking honey oil. That was the best shit ever. That stuff, like 2 blasts of that at a hot knife, and you're like.
But you know what? Look at us now. Look at us now. We're all battling something.
That's right. That's right.
It's totally different.
Hot knives on the stove, like with the hotches.
Oh yeah, the hot knives. Yeah, don't burn the toilet paper roll.
Or the pen. You'd have a pen or.
Yeah. It's hot knives are the beginning of a vape pen.
You at the end of a cigarette with your oil, and you had the black thread oil, and you be dropping it with
Do you remember apple bongs? That's how bad
Yes.
I go. How far back?
I got a video on my phone of Tracy Lamori smoking out of an apple. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
others
tried it as well, and that was the first time that I did. And it was pretty cool, because you pull right through the apple, because you don't hollow the apple up, right?
I know.
Oh, it's just it tastes and everything. It was really cool.
There is so many fun things growing up. I'll never forget any of them, I swear.
That's how I think it just dates us, that's all.
Yeah,
true.
All right. Well, I see we're at the bottom of the hour. We're actually curving around the corner, making our way back towards the top of the hour.
Wow.
Is there more that we could talk all night?
No.
Right?
I'm still causing trouble.
You're still causing trouble.
Good trouble.
You're still fighting. You're still fighting Health Canada like you did 20 years ago. Instead of with cannabis, you're dealing with the mushroom thing now.
She's having to still fight. Like 20 years later, we still should not be having this battle.
It has been since 1994 that I got my first Section 56 in Canada, and I thought I was fighting before then, my friends. So I've been fighting a long time.
Yeah, that's 28 years. I'll
tell you again, Al and Tamara, as you both know, it's not about any of us. It's about all the people who are listening who can do exactly what we've done for this world and this country. So the universe, again, is watching you.
Yeah, we do this in order to spread the word, in order to help other people learn and help the patients. So
all the time.
All right, shout out time. Where can people find you? Person, place, thing, anything like that? Add to it.
Hey, I have a website, The Big Fluffy Guy, a.k.a. Brother Fluffy, a.k.a. Goo, a.k.a. Gary Lynch made for me. AlisonMyrden.com, AlisonMyrden, Myrden like Burden, but I promise I'm no trouble at all. One last thing, pass me on to 100 of your closest friends.
Right. Well, you got any shout outs you want to throw out at anybody before we go?
Yeah, I get to thank Alison for coming on. It's good seeing you in person, right? And I really appreciate, that you, Al, too, and having everybody, just having a good week. Just spreading the love.
All right.
Beautiful.
Just let everybody know, Tamara and I will be back next Wednesday, same time, same place, and with a special guest. You can find us on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can find us on the web. We're everywhere. Thank you. Go to our sponsors, BMAHydroponics.com, drbuckcts.com, Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, as well as Legacy420.com. And thank you to you, Alison. Thanks for coming on. It's good getting caught up with you again. Things are getting rolling. It'd be great to be able to get together again at a rally.
Not done yet, my friends.
Oh, no, we're not done yet. That's right.
I love you guys.
Thank you to everybody for tuning in and watching the program, and we'll see you around soon. Bye.
Thank you again. Have a great night. Happy Wednesday.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.